You're welcome to the next edition of Ogun class. I am Ayodele Odebola, and I will be walking you through one of the stimulating topics in computer science called presentation. Last lesson, what did we talk about? We started the journey on exploring tips or strategies to deliver a great presentation. But by going forward, let's explore what we tried to do last lesson. From our last lesson, we were able to launch an application called PowerPoint. We understood the fact that PowerPoint remains a veritable tool in the hands of 21st century keynote speakers across the globe. And from the point of view, PowerPoint is the only software that is more recognized virtually by everyone that makes use of this app in large gatherings. Not only the large gatherings, even the media stations. And additionally, we explored common errors that presenters make when delivering PowerPoint presentation. And finally, during our last lesson, we discussed about tips to becoming a powerful presenter or keynote speaker. Remember, I told you, the aim of this lesson is not just to train you on how to manipulate your skills on PowerPoint, but to additionally make you a world-class keynote presenter. And I'm sure your parents, your uncles, your brothers at home, they are with you, with your system. Let us explore the creativity side of this application. And let me tell you something. For those of you that are preparing for your WAEC, I want to let you know that this topic, topics from this presentation, like PowerPoint, takes 15 marks. So you can get your full marks, and there are always marks for, or grades for creativity. That is the other side that we'll be exploring. So, today's journey, what are we going to explore? Let's move on. We want to design a typical PowerPoint presentation using external examination question that you might have come across, or probably the one you are preparing to do. Just look at this question. Out of many questions you have in your practicals, let me quickly read out. And from the point of the question, from the overview side of it, you will discover that some are highlighted or they are given colors, like words or sentences or phrases. You may not have that in your paper, but I'm trying to place high emphasis on some of those things that you need to take note of. Prepare and present a 5 minutes. You can see this question is timely on its own. You have 5 minutes to prepare a PowerPoint presentation on my first day in school. Don't forget, in the last lesson, I told you that PowerPoint is like drawing a storyline that you want to give reports or a story about an event or how things that happened, probably on a request by someone or during your exam. You will see slide 1, type the topic for presentation. We will explore all this together. So from the slide 2 of it, this is telling you that your presentation should have more than one slide. Then what are slides? Let's go through the platform or the graphic user interface. Last lesson, I told us to open a PowerPoint, you come to your start menu, then you look for PowerPoint application. Very, very simple. That shouldn't take you like 20 or 25 seconds. Because this is a new project, of course, we need to have blank presentation. So I will be navigating through the existing slides and this platform. Don't forget, this is where we want to do the magic. Before I go back to the question, we have the list of all these I'm pointing at on the screen. We have them as ribbon. They are tagged ribbon. From your home to insert to design to animation to slideshow to review to view. To some of your systems, you may not have up to Mix, Office, Remote, and what have you. But these are basic elements that you need to have when you want to prepare a great presentation. Let's start from the home. What are you expected to do? I told you last week, that is the formatting area or formatting environment or tab for you to to make use of your creativity skill when you are building your font size, when you are trying to make some little effects. And also, when you want to create new slide, I told you about slide. This is where we have as our slide bar. You can see I'm having 1. This is specified as 1, meaning we can have millions of slides on this portion. So if I want to create a new slide, very, very simple, I can easily come down and click on this icon. When you click on new slide, it gives you varying degrees of themes that you want to use. Don't forget, the first slide of your presentation is always the spirit of the whole presentation. It's always the story, the spirit of the storyline of what you are putting across to your audience. So you have to use your creativity sense in that aspect. Most of presentations that we have come across with, we always have the title slide being given as this. I can select this, I can select others. But let me tell you some of the things that you need to do. Probably you want to have your title that has content embedded. I will tell you how to embed files, your pictures, your videos later in the day. Probably you want to have section header or the opening slide with 2 different contents. Probably you are making comparison, such as this, or title only. We've had different presentation, which we have the front or the first slide being the title only slide, and we have other slides as storyline. Of course, you may want to make it a blank. Probably you want to have your own creativity skill adapted to that particular slide. But don't forget, regardless of any theme that you use, your first slide is always the spirit of your presentation. So please get that jealously. On this, we have, before the new slide, we have the first slide. To a greater extent, I can still add more slides, like I said, meaning I will come to this side, click on new slide, you can see, and have my new slides. Some other things we can do, don't forget, we still have all other characters being blurred because nothing had been put in the slide. If I put something here and you see, if I click on something, probably I'm clicking on the first slide, you can see that all other characters on the home screen or the home tab, they're already activated. So that tells me that I can increase the font size, I can change the color, I can have so many components like indented paragraphs and what have you. Additionally, I can even add shapes. Don't forget, we told you PowerPoint is always about measuring your creativity level. So that is that. For the insert session, I could still have my new slide in the insert session. So if you don't have it in the home, you can always have it in the insert session. So that's a plus to you. I can add tables, provided I want to have list of items in matrices. Of course, you are taught matrices in your previous lessons, in this digital class or project. I can also add images on this same slide. Then I can add shape, like I said. I can add icons. I have smart arts. Provided, look at the smart graphics. You can see probably I want to make different kind of presentation that has to do with bulletin or point of emphasis to some certain degree of information on a particular slide. These are some of the things that make you more creative. You can see that work has been made easier for you if you are a user of a PowerPoint. Look at the icon I'm pointing at. So many of the presentations that you might have come across with, you will discover that some of these world-class presenters, they make use of charts in their presentation. Then you'll be wondering, how were they able to put these charts into their presentation? It's very, very simple. This is where the magic starts. Once I click on charts, then it will come, there will be a tab giving me different or list of charts that I can make use of. Regardless of any chart that I select or pick, I will just need to do editing just to add my text depicting what I want to present to the entire public. The next tool I want to introduce to you is the use of your media. Media comprise your pictures, images that you've gotten from internet, pictures that you are taking directly through the use of your smartphones or other digital media. Additionally, I may want to insert symbol. You know, we always have all this in other office tools. But because of our time, let's move on. Then, let's talk about design. Because we need this design at some point to measure our creativity level. You know, when a presenter is making a presentation, and from the back end, probably the background effect, like the theme or like the color separation, you find out that there is a central theme that such presenter has used to effect consistency in the level of presentation. So which means if I pick any of this, take for example, it has given me an effect on my background, but that it's not on the whole presentation, telling me that each time I'm conducting my slideshow or I'm making my PowerPoint presentation, this should be my background effect on all the slides. And if I'm not picking, I can pick others. So that is that. On transitions, I will mix both transitions and animations because they work the same way and they have the same degree of effect to our presentation. To transition level, for those of us who normally watch OGTV at home, you discover that in some of their advertorials, when they have list of slides to present to you, some will be coming in different from different side of the screen. So that is giving you a kind of a transition effect that your presentation could have. So you too can be part of the trend if you are fortunate to be with the media. So for every slide, I can decide what happens to each of the slides in terms of animation. You know, all this, like, that was why I said I'm mixing the two together. So let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll explore the practical side of PowerPoint presentation.
Often, there is really only one thing standing between your sensitive information and criminals: your password. If they get it, they can get into bank accounts and private files and wreak havoc. For this reason, it's important to know what makes a password strong and secure. Chances are, you use passwords every day to open your computer, log on to your favorite websites, to get work done. The easy route is to have a simple password that works everywhere. Unfortunately, this can be a problem. Criminals are very good at guessing passwords. Some have computer programs that can make millions of guesses until something works. And if they already know information about you, it's even easier. Your job is to create a password that is very hard to guess. Here's how. Your first thought may be to use a pet's name, a birth date, an address, or parts of a phone number. These things are too easy for criminals to discover, so don't use them. Your password should not include information about you. Thankfully, there are ways to have memorable but hard to guess passwords. Consider this. In addition to single words, phrases can also be easy to remember. Maybe it's a favorite song lyric or quote. An example is, Jack and Jill went up the hill. That's easy to remember, right? Well, your password is there. It's the first letter of each word. In this example, this would be your password. That's not something that's easily guessed. Here's why. First, it's not in the dictionary. This makes guessing it harder. There are about 60,000 words in English. A computer can test out those words pretty quickly, so don't use them. But there's more. This password could still be stronger by adding uppercase letters, numbers, or special characters. So now this is a very strong password, but there's still a risk. If you write it down, be careful where you keep it. Be aware that someone can look over your shoulder or find it in your trash.
Welcome back. From the question that you are seeing on the screen, I want to start. For 5 minutes, I don't think I can spend 5 minutes. 2 minutes is enough to solve this question. But outside your examination scope, you can learn some of the basic features that you need on PowerPoint. So I will start. My first day in school, the question is telling us to make use of the first slide as what? Our first day in school. Probably you are a presenter that had been asked to give a report on your first day in school. It's very simple. I will just come to the add title, my first day in school. You've had about 3 or 4 marks from putting that, If you may want to go further, let's look at the question so that we know if you're having any other effect. For slide 1, what do we need to do next? Type the topic for presentation in bold and uppercase. You need to understand what uppercase means. Uppercase means all in capital letters. So I think we have done justice to that. What we are left with is bold, to bold the content. How do you bold? You have been taught how to bold during your fundamental computer operations. Yes, I'll come to my home. I will click on bold. I've already bolded. You may want to add your creativity skill to it by putting your name under it. Probably Mr. Because I'm a student in this case, I may put Ayodele Odeugbola. The first slide is the spirit of your presentation, like I said. Now, the question is asking us to do what? To go to slide 2. How do we add slide? How do we add new slide? I already told us that we can always come to our home tab from the list of the ribbons that we have by selecting this. And when we are selecting the new slide, what are we asked to do? A, type the subtitle, presentation outline. So meaning I will be having subtitle and other components of that same slide. So let me come back here. I will select new slide because I want to have title and content based on the request of the question. Then I'll pick this. Don't forget, your first slide is still there. That's not left the screen. Look at it. So then the next is to do what? Go back to the question and see. Presentation outline. Then I will type presentation outline. You can see that within 45 seconds, I'm nearly earning close to 5 to 6 marks. So it's very cheap for you to get your score. So what are we expected to do at the subtitle unit? Look at it, that we should type the presentation item as follows. Name of my school, my first day in school. So let's do that first. Name of my school, my school, my first day in school. Then we have the first place I visited in school. First place I visited in school. Then, what else? An unforgettable experience on my first day in school. You don't need to put all this that you have. You can as well limit your you've been taught summary. You can as well limit your sentence. You can as well, form an abridged sentence for your PowerPoint so that you don't make your PowerPoint too worthy in terms of text. So, an unforgettable experience. Okay, I will write an unforgettable experience. So, I'm done with the question 2 of this. So, what do we need to do? Let's go on the question. Then the last slide, which we are expected to create, describe each item on slide 2 using slide 2 above, using a short sentence. Because we are preparing you for to be smart, to be clever, to be brilliant, and to understand how it helps you to go on a longer journey through short routes. I want to perform a magic here. If I go again by creating a new slide, because yes, we already have the third slide. So the question is saying we should describe using at least one sentence on list of items that we've mentioned in slides too. But as a smart student, I don't want you to go back and start typing, because some of us are not really fast when we are typing. It is very, very simple. You are permitted to copy and paste. All these are common things that you've been taught, even while you are in your junior school. I can copy the whole slide because I want to work on that same slide. So by so doing, rather than rewriting the second slide on the third slide, I can easily say, possibly I can right click and click on copy. That gives me an edge. Then I can come to the next and say paste. You can see I've duplicated a slide into 2 ways. So I can leave this because this is required. Because this is required, while I'll continue to work on this. So I don't need the fourth slide because we are asked to design 3 slides. So I'm limiting that. So I want to work on what happens on each outline. Name of my school. As a student, you can leave it this way and add your answers. Additionally, you can do what? You can provide your answers, because it's all about creativity. I don't expect you to write the name of your school, additionally to put your answers. So from this, I can say name of my school, Abeokuta Grammar School, for example. Then my first day in school, for 23rd September 2019. The first place I visited in school, principal's office. An unforgettable experience. A session, a welcome session for all admitted students. Going by the instructions given to us, we have actually completed the slide. We have actually completed our presentation. Our presentation is ready. So how do we view? Because at times when you're doing your presentation, when you're working on your presentation, you need to see the overview of your presentation and what your presentation will look like. Look at it. That is by coming to your slideshow. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens on the screen. I want to see what is happening here. So as a typical presenter, I've started my presentation. So you can see that I have less text, though I do not have pictures. I will show you how to add pictures, because we are still working around the scope of what WAEC requires you. But before the end of this class, I'll quickly show you. I'll give you insert a picture so that you can see the effect. You can see. So this is just what you are expected to do in your exam. So with this, you've earned your 15 full marks. However, or let me say beyond your WAEC, I told us in the last lesson that at times we may want to go further, using this as a template, to go further on how to prepare standard presentation that is of a global standard or global scale. From here, I can begin to simplify each of these outlines and make them different slides. So meaning, with the 3 I already have on the screen, I can still have 1, 2, 3, 4. I can still have like 4 extra slides explaining further on all what I have here. Let's take, for example, okay, I want to add a new slide. Like, I might choose title only. Meaning, I want to start breaking down what we have here. Abeokuta Grammar School. Abeokuta Grammar School. Because I want to be more creative in my presentation, I want to show you how to insert media. But because of this class, I only touch on I only touch pictures, how to insert pictures or images. Look at where I'm going. You come to your ribbon, and from the tab of insert, you see insert image. You see list of options. That is the sources where to insert your picture or where to get your pictures. From pictures, from online pictures, from screenshots, from photo album. Let's pick from pictures. I have like a picture on my desktop that I want to feature. Probably I may decide to make use of this. Look at this. So I'm beginning to be more creative. So it goes beyond typing of text in my presentation. I told you, so many of our professors, so many of our people in the academia, you could see their presentation when they are making presentation. Those presentations are always full of text. So we should, we should try to see what we can do outside making it so worthy. So I've added a picture here. Last on this lesson, I want to talk about aspect ratio because I want the size of the picture. I want the picture to fill the screen. This is what so many of us do. We'll begin to expand, going through all the sides, all the dotted lines. You can see what I'm doing. With this I'm mothering the whole presentation because I'm changing the quality of this picture. This is the original picture. As a presenter, if you are designing the presentation, for your aspect ratio on any picture you are using, you are expected to come to the edge of your picture, just like this, where you have all this. You can see what you have here is quite different from what we have here. So by expanding in this way or by contrasting in this way, you are still retaining the quality state of your picture. That is why we always have some people with different images. And because they want to forcefully put that picture to fit the size of the screen, they begin to contrast in this manner. In some of the cases, like I said, you have modeled your presentation. So to this end, you can add more pictures, you can add more videos, you can even add more links. So this is where we'll be drawing the curtain. I'm sure you've enjoyed the lesson, and I want to see powerful presentation from you. But before I leave, let me give you this question. For some of you that are watching us, design a 5-slide PowerPoint presentation on COVID-19 pandemic for your next community town hall meeting. You can see how creative that could be. You are at home because of what? Because of COVID-19 pandemic. So I want to see a presentation relating to your experience, your community experience about the COVID-19 pandemic, and send your answers to ask@ogundigiclass.ng. I have special gift for a best presentation to be submitted. Till I come your way next time, I remain Ayodele Odiogbola. Thank you.